Welcome back. Last time we got a proper throne for this guy to sit on. We need some texture on it so it doesn't look like flat. We've also got to prep the rest of the decking panels and a couple other things, but this is our main task for the day. But first I wanted to show the results of priming those panels. This is just a big piece of paper that I laid out when I put the panels down, and I spray painted them, and you get this really super awesome negative effect, and it's kind of blurry in some spots and hazy. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it's really cool, and I wanted to show it to everybody. To make the texture that we're going to apply to this, I kind of have a standard recipe, sort of. I'm not measuring out anything, but there's two main ingredients. First is this patching compound. It's for like filling holes in walls and little cracks and stuff like that. Drywall kind of compound. Second is sand. This is technically ballast for model railroading. There's two levels of fineness in here. There's really fine and coarse. I don't know the exact names. I've had this forever. And I mix them together. So mix some of this, put in some of this for texture. I'm not going to use too much of this time because I want it to be more like concrete. I'm going to add a little bit of glue this time to it, and then you mix it all with water until you get the paste kind of consistency that you want. And then smear it on the thing that you're trying to texture. So let's get to it. Start with this. This is old and dried out, but it doesn't matter because I'm just going to add water to it anyway. How much do we need? A decent amount, I think. Probably more than I usually make, which that's good there. Then let's put the water in now. And we're going to need a bit of water to get this stuff to work into a workable state. Let's try that. It's a little bit liquidier than I would want it to be normally, but when I add some of this sand texture, it's gonna solidify it a little bit. So let's try some of that. And again, I want more of the finer particles than the bigger particles, but you're gonna get some big ones. It's nothing you can do about it, although you can chip them off afterward. All right, let's see. It's a great sound. If you like nails on a chalkboard, this will really appeal to you. Let's give it a shot, and then we can add more. Oh, no, glue. Add a little bit of glue. It's a little bit more substantial of a thing than I put for like a miniature base. We'll probably have to go over it with a coat anyway of glue just to like lock everything in. Oh, look at that. Wow, holy cow, it's like I made slime or something. What? I've never... What in the world did I just do? It's not even really sticky. I mean, a little bit. Blech. Gotta be some of the chemicals in this mixing with the glue, right? Well, we're gonna try to save it with a little bit of water. Ooh, or a lot of water. After a lot of mixing, I really grind the heck out of this brush. I don't think this is gonna work, but let's see. Let's see if we can paint texture on. All right, that's not what I'm looking for. So let's dump this and we'll try again. Sand. It's a little thin, but you know, that might work out to our advantage. The wood's really absorbing the water out of that pretty quickly. It's kind of nice. We can kind of see what we're going to end up with. You know, usually these terrain projects can take a long time. So you put a thing on, you gotta wait for it to dry. Do another thing, wait for it to dry. But this wood is actually helping quite a bit. A lot of liquid, a lot of liquid. We've got our base layer in. Kind of want to now see where to add more. That's my bird. Squawking like a madman. He's mad about something. Let's take some of this and kind of plop it down and push it back into the recesses there. You want a little bit of like crumbs and stuff up at the base so that it kind of blends the statue part, the skeleton part in with the base. That is good. Now we really do have to wait for this to dry. Ooh. Kind of came up with an idea for what to do about his arms, because I want to put another set of arms on him, and I went looking for Halloween stuff, and it was too early, but the problem is finding something that's exactly this size, or at least in a reasonable scale, is going to be pretty difficult. There are other versions of this skeleton in different yoga poses, and I'll put a picture up on the screen here so you can see what I'm talking about. I like the one where the arms are kind of over the head. I'd have to cut them off with a saw and then glue them on, and it would look really funky, which is cool. It doesn't have to be super nice. And also, like, it's gonna cost some money that just I don't really need to spend. But if I'm gonna embrace the funkiness of this guy, I think I can go a little bit better. Just make weird arms. Just make weird things out of junk and pieces and sprue and little balsa wood and blah, blah, blah. Make it look like some cultist has taken a statue of a guy and bolted on arms to make it look like their star god. And I think that's the perfect vibe for this whole thing. I'll be able to get more exactly what I want, and it won't be so difficult to try to find that exactly right shaped piece. And that means digging through the bits boxes a little bit. I've got these old sprues, nice and straight. They're round. We can use those as like the main bone support parts. We've got some pieces from leftover projects. These are like really thin pieces of plywood. We can use those. Got some thicker pieces from older projects. But yeah, let's kit bash something. The creature this is going to be modeled after is called a gene stealer. And if you're not familiar with the Warhammer lore, a gene stealer it's basically an alien from Aliens. It goes around and attacks people and implants their egg. But it has 4 arms, 2 that kind of end in normal hands, and 2 that end in like a 3-bladed claw arm. So we'll do that for these other 2 arms. Okay, so if we take some of these and like attach them somehow to the end. So we need like a shoulder, we need like an elbow, we need a wrist, a hand, and some blades. All right, digging around in the bits box a little bit. Found some pretty cool stuff. This is like this weird bio egg thing that's hatched. If this doesn't fit with this project, I don't know what does. This is all technological junk that I've gotten from, well, I took apart a few devices. I think one was a printer. Anyway, lots of good stuff in there that we can pull stuff from. I don't know if this is made anymore, but this back in the day was like one of the greatest terrain kits ever made. And we're gonna use some of these elbow joints as elbows for our dude. Perfect. So if we just take some of these off here, we can take and just put these coming out of the elbow like it's an elbow. This stuff, it works, but man, it smells so bad. I don't have any sprue goo, but if we take this and put a little bit of it over the edges to cover the seam, it will be okay. Then should we just glue these together? If I just smear some glue on these sticks, then they'll weld themselves. See, if you'd done that with super glue, you would have glued your fingers together. All right, those can sit and dry flat, and those will be our bones for the arm. All right, while we're waiting for these to dry, there's some other stuff we can do. I've got all the printed panels that haven't had their supports removed. There's about 20 of them. The best part about these is because all the supports are on the underside, I don't have to be careful with taking these supports off. I can just kind of take them off as they come. So these will get primed in black, just like the other ones. What I've decided is that I'm going to prime the tops in brown, or at least paint the tops in brown. I'm not going to spend time priming them black first and then hitting them with brown. I'm going to just go straight to the brown. There's two ways that you can make stuff look grimy and grungy. Let's say we're talking about metal, because we're talking about metal. So one way is to paint it all silver, and then you use inks and different paints and stuff to dirty it down. You know, you're starting off basically like it would have been constructed as silver, metal, and then you dirty it, which works great. But the other way is to start with it brown or rusty, and then what you do is you bring it up to silver just a bit. I'm gonna do it that way, the go from brown to silver way, because well, partially I have some walls that I got a long time ago that I've painted that direction. The other reason is I think it's easier than using inks and washes and stuff to take the whole thing from silver to brown. So now that this has the supports removed, what I'm gonna do, I take the sandpaper, and this is just plain 120 grit sandpaper. I'm gonna sand the bottom to knock off all the little bits, and then this edge that was flat against the printing plate is kind of gnarly, so I'm gonna sand that one down too. And then we're gonna do it to those, and the other one's off camera that you can't see. And then we'll be able to prime them. I do this in 4 quick little cycles, just to make sure that I get all the edges nice and smooth. They don't have to be smooth. This is underneath. And then sand this down to get all the little burrs off from the printing. But we've got a lot to do, and I'm not gonna make you watch it, so...
Whoops.